Hello, IGN. My name is Jose Otero, and I am here with Brendan Graver.
I'm here. What's up? We're doing this.
We are playing, let the title screen at least show this time, Brendan, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Special demo version.
The special demo version. This is a much coveted demo for a lot of fans out there. Hopefully you're getting codes as we speak right now from Nintendo in North America and from the Pokemon Company International. And here we are. We're already showing off by cutscene Soar. Is essentially that's what it's going to look like.
I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, so tell people what Soar is.
It's basically the next step in the evolution of flying with Pokemon.
So traversal.
Yeah, before you would just use fly at the HM and you would pick a location on the map and you would fly a little cutscene. And this, you get to soar around a 3D landscape of the entire region and basically choose where you want to go. And you can do like cool tricks in midair with your Latios or Latias if you have the different versions. Barrel rolls and pivot turns. It's pretty cool. I'm loving it.
Very cool. So we are in Moss Deep City, and as you can see, just a brief explanation. This is a special scenario. This has nothing to do pretty much with the main game. Everything that happens here happens on its own. It's carefully been constructed.
I kind of like when demos do that. I mean, I don't like sometimes when demos show like the first 20 minutes of the game, because then when you get the real game, you're like, oh, I got this whole part again. Yeah. I love it when demos give you a slice that you won't see anywhere else.
So this reminds me a lot of when Pokemon X and Y was coming out. I got to play a sort of experience demo for that game, and they actually took that to trade shows. They had it at PAX, I believe, and maybe New York Comic Con. And one of the things that I thought was a bit odd was, or maybe at the time it just didn't occur to me, but I was like, oh man, I wish they would kind of release this, because some people really appreciate seeing how the game's going to work. And back then it was its own scenario. It was a chunk of real estate that came from the game, but it was just like this. However, what is not like this is that the rewards that you find in this demo will actually carry over to the main game.
I like that.
So right from the start, we already have them here. The plot thickens, and Team Aqua is up to no good. If you have played Ruby and Sapphire, you know that Sapphire's villains, or Alpha Sapphire in this case, is Team Aqua. Ruby, or Omega Ruby in this case, is Team Magma. And so the scenarios are fairly the same between both organizations. They're up to no good. If you played a Pokemon game, you know that.
Player Orlando.
Orlando, yeah. They're sticking to the main name. Let's go with, what are you recommending? I like Marshtomp myself.
Marshtomp?
Yeah.
Just marsh it up.
Let's do it.
Do it.
So we're showing you both screens here just so you can get a taste. This is roughly the X and Y, the engine they made for X and Y, but with a lot of little improvements here and there, which the demo shows some of them, and we're going to point them out after this battle so that you can see it.
Oh, it's nice to see this game in the Pokemon X and Y 3D battle system.
Oh yeah, and also I love what they did with the music. I got to play the first up to the first gym at Nintendo, and a lot of the music I recognized from the GBA version, but just updated, sounded really rad and really good.
I'm a sucker for that, for when music gets updated to a better form.
Oh yeah, and a better quality, absolutely. Yeah. And Pokemon's music is I think has been evolving in a really cool way, so it's fun to go back.
Just gonna say that.
Yep. So and that's the case with most of the enemies in the demo, actually. They pretty much get stomped unless you don't know.
Well, you're starting with a tier
types.
2 starter.
Yeah, and if you notice the levels, I think you were at level 35, the Marshtomp you picked. That's what I noticed last night. And the enemies they toss at you are pretty substantially below that. I want to say they have 30s or even 25s. But anyway, so the way this demo works, while Brendan continues to go through it, is that you have to play it multiple times to get the rewards. So the first reward is very simple, just completing the demo the first time through. At least for me, this is how it happened. Hopefully this happens in this Let's Play, is I got a Mega Pokemon at the end.
Really?
Yes. And that Mega Pokemon will transfer into my game once the full game comes out on November 21st here in North America. Yeah, which is also pretty dope.
They're asking us to go try and find this Mega Evolution Pokemon. It's not the Pirates.
Yep. And so this is a very gated experience in some ways, but it's also kind of a cool one in others. Like Steven is going to stand, and if you don't recognize Steven's actually, you should recognize him from the original game if you played it, but he also has the Metagross. He has there goes. So this is BuzzNav. This is sort of a Pokemon news feed. So when there's different random events happening in the world, this is where you're going to find them. So over to the right of it, you see all that empty orange space. That is where the other navs will show up. So there is a Play Nav, which is all of the suite from X and Y. There is a Dex Nav and there's an Area Nav. The Area Nav is the map, and the Dex Nav is sort of Pokemon-specific information. I do want to point out one thing really quick, Brendan, and I mentioned this in a preview on IGN, but you can tiptoe in Pokemon X and Y, and this is something that you're going to have to do to sneak up on Pokemon when you use Dex Nav to identify a Pokemon that may have special moves.
That is wonderful.
Yes, so we can walk this way as we head over to Steven. Now we're actually going to pick up the pace a little bit here.
Get a special reward just for sneaking the whole way through this demo.
One thing, though, to point out, last night I realized a lot of doors are locked, and it makes sense
just like
for a
real
demo.
life.
Yeah,
people don't
like,
want you barging in their house.
This is also a time when the Pokemon Center and the Pokemon Pokemart are completely isolated and separated. And these guys are having a conversation, so I can't get in here a little.
It always it struck me in other Pokemon games too. Like you would be roadblocked by the weirdest things, like just like some fat guy, something like I don't want to move, and then like you come back later and finally he go away.
There's
true. No real like.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite reaction, by the way. No, not the gym.
Not the gym.
You cannot go in. So that's pretty funny. But you're right. Yeah, this is sort of its own charming, like like funny kind of thing. I will say this: more people do, I believe, show up the more you finish the demo. Like, I've gone through it 4 times, and I found sort of a wayward scientist chilling out here. So you are encouraged to explore and find these people, but so far I haven't found that they have anything yet. But check the internet, like definitely talk around to see sort of what's been unlocked, and check back at IGN too. We're gonna have a lot of this stuff, I believe, on the site.
Oh yeah.
So let's go over to this scenario with Steven. I'm just gonna run over to him. Looks like you're ready. Shall we go? And once again, we're gonna show off soaring. They're gonna show off a cutscene like soaring to you, just show you what that looks like.
In the game, you'd be able to actually choose where you're flying. Mid-soar, but this is kind of a pre-rendered.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is what fly will look like, and then soar will be more direct control.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because up until
I would
now,
love
fly
to
has
show
been
where you're going, like not just a general animation.
Exactly. So one thing to point out is that you can level up this Marshtomp to get him to level 36, so that he is able to Mega Evolve. That's actually going to happen during the first part of this demo, by the way.
All right.
So yesterday I spent some time in the grassy area, just sort of fighting random Pokemon.
So look, we just have our
open
level
it
35.
up. Let's look at it. Yeah, so he's a level 35. Summary, real quick. Take a look.
Waterfall.
So he has Torrent as his ability.
It's cool.
Yep. How cool is
Lonely.
he? Hates to lose. I like him.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Don't we all? You only need 1,000 points to get to the next level too. A little over 1,000, so that's cool.
I can do this.
And I don't think you
go-
have any
should we
items.
go
Yeah, go into the grass. Let's battle some stuff. Let's get this started.
Love it.
Yeah, if you hear a Pokemon sound, it usually means a tail just poked out of the grass, and then you want to try and tiptoe. But if you don't have Repel and you get pulled into another battle, that Pokemon bounces. Also, if you run up to that grass and not tiptoe, that Pokemon leaves. So it is very much something that you have to be aware of as you play this game. But I do think it's a cool improvement, Yeah, the animations are, of course, really solid. And talking to both the producer, Masuda, and the director for this game, they did mention, hey, Pokemon Bank is something you're going to be able to access early on. And so the way I think they're gating this is just the badges themselves, right? So you can only control up to a certain level, even though you import it through Pokemon Bank. So that's something, just for folks, as an aside, you should see something about IGN on IGN by the time this video goes up.
More interference? Darn it.
Yeah, I love these poses they
Now
assume.
Team Magma.
And we are in for a fight.
Give me that Team Magma pose.
So here comes the Grunt and his Zubat.
And his, what are we? What level is his Zubat? 30. Not that bad. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, they're giving you the 5-level advantage, though. If there is one thing about Pokemon, the Pokemon campaigns, they can be fun and they can be sort of interesting in different ways, but it always boils down to, if your level's higher, the other trainer doesn't really try to outfox you. It's not quite as brutal as like Shin Megami Tensei, where if you have a certain weakness, the enemies in that game target it.
I would love to see a mode, if nothing else, that like trainers would be, or even just gym leaders would actively try and mess you up by subbing out Pokemon to try and take advantage of whatever you're using.
I mean, it might be the price of something, the cost of just a game like this that scales to a sort of a wide audience, but the battle mechanics are where it's at, and I will always contend that that is sort of a big deal.
Second battle.
All right, here we go. Once we get through these fools, once we get through these two, we're going to take on some Team Aqua members. But we're probably going to break after this and break this Let's Play up into a couple parts.
Fine by me.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to want to check back at IGN and see, this adventure. We're at least going to go through the demo once, maybe twice. But remember, you can go through the demo multiple times. There are multiple rewards to get. You are, in fact, rewarded for going back.
Ooh, level 36.
Which is really cool. Wow, that was quick. Yesterday, I spent time in the grass, like trying to level before I fought those guys. Had I known, you could just go up to them and kind of get there yourself.
Yeah, you get a lot more experience.
Yeah, so now that you're level 36, all you need is a Mega Stomp. And we're going to watch the evolution right here. So this is a great place to end it. Right? Cut. No, we shouldn't.
Tune in next time, see what he turns into.
And here comes what's his final form?
His final form is Goku Super Saiyan.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, you're welcome.
Sure.
Look at that.
Swampert. There we go.
Just get that Mega Swampert and we're set.
Yep. And you're going to get to see that in the
very first
playthrough of the demo. All right, folks. So we're going to take a break here. Make sure you come back to IGN for more Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire demo coverage.